Sabre Raven is deep into a golden pass, and its EMP system is more than excited about getting some updated graphics, but it is still quite a sight in game already. I wanted to talk about this ship, and it's kind of a mixed bag for me, because I originally, many times, have said I never wanted to cover this ship. I have famously said it publicly and on this very channel that this ship does not exist to me until everybody else can get it. Shout out to DrCyano, aka PhD Cyano, for hooking me up with the ship for this test drive. The biggest thing I would say about this ship is that it does exist to me. And that sounds like I am flip flopping on this topic, but really, I'm not. I firmly believe that with the Golden Pass for a ship that so few people have in the community, I believe wholeheartedly that they will sell this ship. Now, before the pitchforks come out, I don't think they're going to sell this specific ship to everybody. I do believe that they will sell this ship category, this ship as a variant to everybody, as a war bond, and it will sell. Many of the old timers in the game have lamented missing the Sabre Raven. There have been people who go on to websites such as Newegg and other sites like Amazon or whatever else, not advocating for one, purchasing old Intel Optane technologies, which this originally came with as a promo, as a piece of cardboard that came out, a glossy cardboard, as postcard style thing that gave you a code to use this. And some got it, and some purchased these things for hundreds of dollars off of eBay, off of Amazon, off of Newegg when they did come up, and they finally either got it or they didn't. No more of that. I believe that the collectors will still have their rare ship. It will look like this, and after its golden pass, it'll look even more beautiful. Cyano noted in recent patches that there's been some quiet updates to this ship where there's not a blinding bright golden light inside the cockpit, where it's actually the correct coloration and not so bright in there, matching the kind of color scheme of the exterior of the ship, which is a beautiful ship. One of the few times that I think the channel will appreciate that I'm going to take this up into the space where it's a little darker, so you can really see this thing shine. It loves being at night. It loves being... I'm not going to use the word sneaky, at least visually. It has giant lights, and it has a great set of headlights, by the way. But its benefits are in its low signature. And what I mean by that is its IR and its EM signature. Maybe not necessarily its visual, as in somebody staring at it and seeing the bright lights, but its cross-section is very narrow. Its EM and its IR signatures, as you can see at the top of the screen, are extremely small, even in boost mode, and this is a stock vessel. I wanted it to be that way so I could have like a baseline for the future. Once it's post-gold standard, hopefully I'll get my hands on this specific variant. And I'll be honest with you, I will be picking up the MK2 that I firmly believe will happen. I don't have any secret information, but you don't do a golden standard on a ship like this unless you have plans. At this time, right now, resources are very tight. They are trying to get as many ships out of the backlog as possible, and suddenly going back to this thing and going through it is interesting. It does have an ejection seat. I did not test the ejection seat. It does have the ability to do its locks. It does have on-ship storage. And full disclosure, this ship crashed at the end of this. You won't see it, but the ship was empty, thank goodness. So it is what it is. On this test, you can see that there's only two smaller weapon systems. You can see the Quarrelers. And the pair of Quarrelers is really not where the action is on this ship. It does, I honestly think, when it gets its pass, I hope to see it gets missiles. Because this ship, with maybe a couple size 1s and a pair of size 2s, would certainly kind of make it a little more practical. But its pair of energy cannons are rather mediocre. But being able to turn on the EMPs, which are those burst generators, and being able to you use the right click mouse button, at least at this moment, to fire off the EMPs. And it is quite an experience when this happens. I believe that this ship is best suited for uh, practical fleet support. So if you're in a small gang and you're rolling around with other ships, that's when this ship truly shines. Its guns just add a little bit extra damage and bring people's shields down that much faster, but really it shines at EMPing them, which is adding chaos and disabling the enemy ship for short periods of time. And you'll notice that the generators tend to do some interesting stuff when we think about what we're used to. It's quite an experience the first times that you use the EMP. The animation's not amazing, but it certainly is visual, and that's a good thing, both for fairness. So if an enemy is getting hit by this thing, they understand what's actually causing it. But the short-range EMP system, I'd like to see it get buffed a little bit, um, and also be a little more. I guess the word is intuitive. Another thing that Sano noted was that the EMP was actually impacting the ship a few patches ago, and now it is not. So that's pretty good thinking. You do have to be careful and communicate with the rest of the group. I just said it's a group-based ship to really do much. Um, and that means that you don't want to be next to your friends when you fire off the EMP because it will impact and disorient and disable some of your friends' systems and cause issues for them. So there will be kind of fleet doctrines where you want that medium range kind of standoffishness while you swoop in to the enemy group and try to attack them. But this type of support chip has its place. It's unique. I also see it in a scout role because of its low signatures. It's not the most stealthy ship in the game. It's not the fastest ship in the game, but it isn't. I would argue that it's not quite a slouch. It's a beautiful little scout that has some stealthy characteristics, and it kind of kept some where the traditional Raven did not. So the original Raven is a space superiority fighter now. And when it first came out, it was kind of in the same role, but it was supposed to like maintain a decent chunk of its stealthy characteristics, and that slowly kind of went away and it got kind of more beefed up on its shields, and the idea was that more of it was combat oriented, that it was supposed to be a competitor to the Super Hornet. And I would say now that you would start just trying to stack it up against the F8C. I haven't had a chance to actually fight a Sabre because they're so uncommon. To be honest, the people I run into, at least in the verse as of 2023, really don't fly a Sabre, so I really can't comment too much on its recent characteristics. Mine sits firmly in buyback. If it's any good, I'll certainly pick it back up with LTI and such, but the original Sabre I'm not that interested in. This thing I am. The Sabre Raven brings a unique role to the fleet that I certainly find interesting. It's a beautiful ship. It's one of the first human ships that has these unique and exotic characteristics to it, and to me, it fits the role of the stealthy scout better than the Hornet than the Hornet that is supposed to be the stealthy one. And I would say that the stealth hornet is kind of a legacy item. I'd like to see them revamp that. So on the F7 series of the F7Cs, you have your stealth hornet, and it sacrifices a lot for that capability. It has more weaponry than the Sabre Raven, but it does not have that dang EMP. So you have this situation where it just is kind of a scaled back, just a scaled back Hornet that lost its turret, its capabilities, and for what? It has a really cool skin, and the Ghost in general to me is just it's just kind of a mediocre ship right now. I hope to see it get reworked. I actually find its paint job really cool. And to be honest, the original paint job of the Hornet Ghost, I swear, went back when it was in the hangar. It was black with like white specks on it, glowing white specks. And at first I scoffed at that, and then I realized, oh, that's a star pattern. That makes sense. But now it's like a matte black paint finish, or as matte black as they'll allow a ship to be. It still has that metallic kind of sheen to it. Whereas this thing is very shiny. It's got the bright lights on the wings that I could not figure out how to turn off and on. You can see me testing the landing gears. This is something I've been doing a lot recently. The SRV kind of spoiled me. So lately I've been testing those because some ships are very bird-boned when it comes to their landing gears, where you have just even a slightly rough landing and it snaps off, or they show wear and tear on the vehicle or ship based on their landing gears, based on where the axles are on a ground vehicle and such. This is me testing that you can be fully landed and still fire off the EMP, and you can still do, of course, your flares and chaff. So this is really interesting in a weird role. Let's play a game here and say that there was an attack on an outpost or something. You could technically, you could hide this thing. In theory, you could have it like shut off, hiding away, or just its engines turned off, you know, the normal not make noise thing. And in theory, if you could somehow hide this thing behind a wall or something, you could then detonate your EMP, or you can keep scooching along the ground and keep landing in different spots all along there. It's just a theory crafting of mine, but you can use the defensive measures and you can use that EMP. That's really useful. And you'll notice that it has the old school, the 4 shield faces for such a small ship. You can't use the EMP when you have your quantum generator active. That goes without saying. And there is some other interesting characteristics, but in general, I'm pretty fond of this ship. I'm glad that the collectors, the owners, congrats to you folks. They got the ship and had that dedication to pick it up or locate it. Or won it in a contest. They recently had a contest where they gave away 5 more of these things, or they're in the process of doing so. CIG gave away 5 more of these valuable, unique ships. And I'm going to lead into something here. I do not recommend picking up this original ship. I don't know if they'll ever sell it again. There was an agreement with Intel. This was a product promotion, but from some of the rumors and paperwork I've seen around the community, apparently that agreement kind of ended recently, so they can do whatever they want now with the Sabre Raven, or they can renew with Intel. I don't know. And some of the theory crafting was there's new Intel products from their ARC series that they might want to try to integrate into the Sabre Raven. I don't know about any of that. But what I do know is there will be some measure to get a version of this in your hands, and you're not an original owner. I firmly believe that. I do not believe it'll be this original variant. I believe it'll be a separate variant, like an MK2 model, just like with other products that we've talked about, the F7A MK2 kind of theory crafting. Eventually, that will be sold. And the other option they have is to give all the original owners a paint and basically make this Sabre Raven base be available or be part of a new promotion with Intel or whoever. And the idea being that the original owners will get a special paint that you can't trade, or you can trade, whatever, and it will be only available to them. Now, this ship did not come with LTI, and I think in the new promotion they will. I think it's kind of ridiculous that this thing did not come with LTI, especially for the cost. And that was one of the reasons I didn't go out and go buy in the Intel Optane tech, especially because I didn't need it. There was a very specific need for it. It was like a type of preloading hard drive system, and I already had an M.2 at the time, and I was just like, what's the point of this? I'm not going to buy something just for that sake. And then I found out even more, where it was not a long-term insurance policy. It wasn't even 10 years. So I said, okay, not even bother with that. And there's some regret there. I mean, at the end of the day, there was no way for us to know how high this thing was going to scale up. But now I can get my hands on it, I firmly believe, this year. And that is why you see me sitting in this ship that really should not exist in my hands. And I am milking every single second of this because I want to have this for posterity. And I firmly believe that this, as we come to an end on this video, I firmly believe that this is going to be a thing for 2024. And just today, there was an email that came out saying you can rebuy anything that was in 2023. Watch what you buy, be very cautious of what you buy, especially war bond that's not credit. You're not melting and moving and whatever to do it, because these type of things are highly likely to come out in 2024. I will be I will be very shocked. I'm no expert on this, but I'll be very shocked if the Sabre Raven, in some capacity, is not available for your purchase in 2024 in one way or another. Golden ticket, buy an Intel Arc card and you get it for free. Some methodology. Just war bond, just blatant war bond. Um, we'll see, but I just firmly believe it. So thank you for sticking around, to my long-term subscribers. I hope this one was a little unique. I'm sorry that I'm showing a ship that you can't buy at the moment, but I firmly believe that will change drastically soon. Once again, no secret knowledge, but by looking at the monthly reports and seeing that the November, December, they were working on a golden pass for the Sabre Raven with so few people owning these things, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. All right, that's all I got for this one. Once again, thank you for sticking around and have a great one.